the JSE is set for another tough day as Tencent falls. Tencent retreated by almost 5% on Friday and has more than halved so far this year. Zwelakhe Mnguni, Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers, joins us now for analysis on how the markets have opened. Very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time, Zwelakhe. Give us an overview of how the markets are faring this morning. Are local stocks low as expected?
Good morning, Paul, and good morning, viewers. Certainly, our market is under pressure this morning, as you pointed out. I mean, we are down 1.4%. I think there's a lot of pressure in the resources sector. So we are seeing the metals and mining sector being down 2%. But we're also seeing the industrial sector also being under pressure, largely because of the Naspers exposure to Tencent, which has been under pressure this morning. And I think if you look around the world, I mean, markets are under pressure again. If you look at the Asian markets, Hang Seng is down 4%, Shanghai is down 2%. In Europe, they opened also a lot weaker, 1% more or less. So there has been a bit of pressure. I think what is interesting is that gold is also down. I think the dollar is surging again. We saw the rand weakening to about 18.05.
Yeah. U.S. GDP expanded by an annualized 2.6% in the third quarter, higher than the market consensus. What does this data tell us about the world's biggest economy and perhaps by default, the world economy?
I think the numbers were quite strong, stronger than expected. So if you look at the key drivers, I mean, the consumer spending was much stronger than expected, and I think there was a bit of weakness in the household in the housing market, but certainly there was quite a strong number. And what it tells us is that it's almost guaranteed that the U.S. Fed will probably step up the rate hikes and maintain a 75 basis points hike. And I think that's what markets are worried about at the moment, but that we are actually going to slip into more increased pressure from interest rate hikes.
And Impala Platinum has published its first quarter production report for the period of 1 July to 30 September of this year. Help us make sense of those numbers.
Yeah, the numbers were generally mixed. I think at the concentrate level, the 6 April concentrate level, I think they were actually down 2%. But if you look at where the weakness came from, it looks like it was their own operations where the concentrate was down. But if you look at the grades, I think Canada did much better. So they saw a 14% improvement in the grades. But their own operations, if you take them all in aggregate, so they were flat, but they were boosted likely by the JVs and as well as the third-party concentrate that they buy in.
And Apple posted weaker than expected iPhone and services sales in its latest quarter. What does that performance look like?
Yeah, I mean, the numbers at a headline, they were better than what the market was expecting. So they grew 8%. But I think if you look at for the quarter, the earnings were about 4% higher, so slightly behind. But I think the key areas where there were weaknesses was that the iPhone as well as the services revenue, they were meaningfully behind the targets that were set by the brokers. So that has actually spooked the stock, and I think that was not in isolation. I think the background of the fact that we saw Facebook coming under pressure, or what is called now Facebook, that came under pressure today. So there's certainly been a lot of pressure across the tech sector, broadly speaking.
Very well. Thank you so much for that analysis. Zwelakhe Mnguni, Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers, giving us a sense of how the markets and business world is faring. Now,